Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Morning Coffee with Lance Mckinnon, Tiffany Linderman, and today's special guest is Chef Malcom Mitchell. And we are here today enjoying ourselves for some Saturday morning coffee conversation. May it be free flowing, and that whatever comes out of this, I hope that each and everybody can get a little bit of tidbit from this. So I just want to kind of open it up. Thank you, Chef Mitchell, for taking time out of your busy Saturday morning to meet with us and have coffee. So
I wouldn't. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a good Saturday.
it's a good.
I rose. I got my cup of coffee, and I'm here with you, lovely people. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Good. And like I said, we really don't have any open forum.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we just want to bring around, like Jerry Seinfeld. We're just going to drive around from our Zoom cast
All right.
and just kind of talk about everything what's going on. Chef Mitchell and you and I, we've had the opportunity to work together before, and but kind of tell us what you have going on now and how people can find you, and and we'll kind of go from there.
Well, what I have going on now is that I've opened up a chef studio, and I'm actually in it right now. So the backdrop, if you see the kitchen back there. And so the chef studio will be an opportunity for me to work on what you're actually doing right now is content. I'm being, some creative content so I can get some of my recipes out that I'm working through, that I can give people some cooking demonstrations, some Zoom calls where I'm actually doing virtual cooking classes, and a space where I can host dinner parties. So this is the studio. I'm in Baltimore. We just kind of moved in this studio maybe like 3 days ago, so we're still getting it ready.
Okay.
And also, it's going to be an ideation studio for my partner in crime and cuddle. She's having an ideation studio here as well, where she's creative, doing ideas, trying to help Baltimore City with woman empowerment and trying to get ladies certified. So this is a dual situation that we're doing here. So I'm excited. We haven't launched it yet, but you guys are the first to hear about it. And so hopefully in the next few weeks, it'll be ready to rock and roll.
How are we privileged to be able to get? See, that's what I love about it, because some of the best conversations I've ever had were with strangers.
Yeah.
Over Saturday morning coffee, and I don't know how many people I've pitched that have turned around and walked away and said, "What was that guy's name?"
Right. Right. And the crazy thing about it that with the forum that you guys have is that it happens to me a lot. I don't know if maybe somebody might have seen me on a show or something. It's like, don't I know you? And I'm like, no, but hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Yeah.
And conversations do come over. A lot of times, Starbucks was my spot that I used to hang out a lot.
Oh, you're fancy.
Hey, I'll be honest with you, I like Dunkin' Donuts coffee better, but it's a social atmosphere. You got to be clear. Like, something about Starbucks just makes it more socially engaging, right? Than
Yeah.
going into Dunkin' Donuts. But truthfully, I like Dunkin' Donuts coffee better.
Yeah.
So when I want to be social, I go to Starbucks. But when I just want some good coffee, I go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay. So so Tiffany, now I can gauge Chef Malcolm's attitude, his mood when I call him, and I'll be like, "Where are you at? Starbucks. Okay, I'll call you back.
Yeah.
You at Dunkin' Donuts? I'm not messing with you."
Yeah, I'm there for a purpose.
You're there for a purpose. So this whole setup behind you, that is a makeshift kitchen?
No, it actually is a kitchen. So basically, I just took a studio apartment, and there's no bed in here. I wish I could. If it was together, I'd give you like a tour. But right now, I'm on our office table. This is where the computer is set up, and then across from this table right here, I have a couch, a lounge where you can sit and chill. And then on the other side of that, I have a dining room table set up for the max of 10 people. So I can do formal dinners because I do a lot of pop-ups. So I've done a lot of pop-ups. And so now I wanted to create a space where I can do it right here. You know, I don't have to take all my equipment and leave outside of my studio and go to somebody's house or go to a restaurant and do it. I can do it here.
Okay.
It's
So
big enough for me to do training too. So I'm going to be doing some training, some, you know, one-on-one training with, you know, the younger kids that are really trying to get into this game.
So if I got a cargo van of 8 people, we can drive down there and you can do dinner for us.
You can have, I can do from 5 courses to 15, whatever you like.
I'm coming.
Do I have to pay for it, or is it included in the meal?
All right. So let me see if you got the good looks coupon. If I give you the good looks coupon, Tiffany's got the good looks coupon. You're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay, Lance. Sorry, but Tiffany.
How do you know that Tiffany has the good looks coupon?
I'm looking at her. Are you? What are you? I'm looking right in her face. What are you talking about? I'm looking in your face too, and I think she's got the coupon. I can't give it to you, brother.
Okay. Well, Tiffany's my neighbor, so we share.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So does that work?
All right, I got you.
Okay.
You can half a plate, Lance. I'll cut it in half. We'll share. Okay, buddy.
All right, because Tiffany is a great cook in herself, and I know she does a lot of that. I know my wife, she does. My wife used to own her own catering company.
Yeah.
And I know that we briefly talked about that. I should really be about 500 pounds between what my wife makes on Saturday, because we do Saturday gatherings here at my house.
Nice.
And, between Tiffany and my wife, they're always coming up with some creative ideas, and usually it starts about 5 o'clock, and the meals are always different.
Nice.
We've done plant-based. We've been doing a lot. We're doing a lot of plant-based. I've had jackfruit for the first time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
How'd you like it?
I had a barbecue jackfruit sandwich, and honestly, I could not tell the difference.
Wow.
I could not tell the difference. I think that I was kind of cautious about it, but it takes on whatever fruit, whatever flavor that you mix it with. One thing I did learn about jackfruit is that you have to make sure that it's really dried out, before you do it, because it kind of really looked like cabbage to me. I ate it. My son, who's 16, who was, trying to be lean and mean.
Okay.
And he crushed it.
Wow. I've never had it.
You never had jackfruit?
No.
I'm surprised. I thought we would learn something from you on that one.
No, I've never had jackfruit.
So, Chef Malcolm, you've done some vegan dishes, right? I was watching something where your pop-ups, you've done, Spanish food and, French food and vegan. I'd love to hear a little bit about how you did the vegan pop-up.
Yeah, we were doing, and some of the vegan pop-up depends on just the location. And when I used to throw out emails to some of my followers, I would say, like, what do you want to have next? And we get a lot of people talking about they want vegan food. I started doing raw as well. So so I started doing a lot of raw diets. And when I was doing raw diets and raw dinners, is I had some patients or clients that were cancer patients. And what the doctor was saying, they needed to have a raw diet, nothing cooked over like 110 degrees. And so I really started playing with that to see how creative I could be with this food, because I'm a carnivore by heart, right? And so I want to see how I could do it. So I started doing a lot of creative things. I started making vegan cheese. We started making vegan pies. It was just just seeing how creative we could do with some of these dishes. So I did work with a chef, Jonathan, that opened a raw kitchen down in Miami. So I learned some techniques from him. Vegan bacon. We were making vegan bacon out of coconut. So we were doing some crazy things. And he was working at a space in DC. I don't know if you heard about it, Lance. It was called Elizabeth's on L. And it was a catering company, and the owner was diagnosed with cancer. And so she had to go on this diet, and she created this cult following of all of her fine dining dinners were basically all raw dinners, and they were from 5 to 10 courses. And I actually started working with Chef Jonathan and did some events at that space as well. So that's where my creative juices. And the thing about it, I always want to give credit to where I've learned technique from, right? So I wouldn't say this was a Malcolm show. Malcolm. You hear me throughout saying Chef Jonathan kind of introduced it to me. I had some clients that, like I said before, that were was battling cancer, and so I wanted to see how creative I could help them, because that's the one thing that a lot of people don't want to miss is their palate. I mean, that's a palate gives you pleasure, right? So how can I give them this raw diet that they would seem be boring and bland and please their palate in the same strength as well as their body? So that was kind of the whole thing about how I started doing a lot of those raw and vegan pop-up dinners.
So that takes a lot of studying on your part, because I know that when we do our entertaining, not to the level of yours, but we all try to come up with a theme of what we want to do, but then also what kind of cocktail that you want that you want to go with your palate, because that changes a lot of it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So I'm kind of curious to see how what your thought is like when you're doing one of these raw diets, like what would you serve with it, or it just varied, or would you just
it really depends. To me it really depends on what the dish is. A lot of times when we were doing it, it was, we balanced it. So when we did something with our mushrooms, let's say, for example, mushrooms for a vegan is steak, right? So you want something bold and robust as a red wine to go with it that has a lot of tannin that makes your palate kind of salivate a little bit. You kind of take the thought process of how you would cook and pair wines or cocktails with actual meat or fish or chicken, and you do the same thing with a vegan dish. So if you thought your first course would be something light and something that would mimic something like fish, then you'd go with something crisp like a white wine or something in that tannin right there. So it all depends. And a lot of times when we were doing those dinners, we had a som with us, right? So we would tell the som, because I'm no som. We would show the som the menu, and the som would come up with the menu as far as what we would pair with each dish. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
I feel so much smarter now. I don't know about you, Lance. I'm gonna steal those tips and tricks. So thank you. And oh my gosh, I need to try some of your raw recipes, because I've not ventured into that at all.
Now, do you have a cookbook with your raw recipes? Or
I mean, I have a cookbook, but it's it's not a cookbook that's out and published or anything like that. Okay. I have a book of recipes that I have, and it's called the Bible. It's actually right here. Let me show you. Hold on, I have it.
Nice.
Wait a sec, that's your Bible.
My Bible.
That's the King Malcolm Bible. I have the King.
And it has. Can you? I don't know if you can see that.
Okay.
But wow. It's just got tons of recipes in here that I've created, and some of these I still use, and this the whole purpose of this studio is for me to be creative and come up with some new ones. So by the time I'm done, you'll probably have 2 more of these books.
Okay. So that leads me to believe. So what you want to do with this studio? help me understand, not just help me, but Tiffany, but
Okay.
to all of our listeners that are following Chef Malcolm and all the people who are following Saturday Morning Coffee.
Yeah.
Because I believe there's a lot of cooks out there.
Right.
So kind of just like give us the 30,000 version of what, this kitchen is all about and where you see it and where do you plan on taking it?
Yeah. So the whole purpose, one of the purposes, the reason why it came to I run this concept is because of COVID, So I had a restaurant during COVID in Severna Park. I wouldn't say mine was fine dining, it was upscale dining. It wasn't a type of restaurant that would be able to sustain doing carry out business like most restaurants. My food was, you want to experience the food, you want to experience the wine, it's a whole, experience. It's just not just to come in there and grab some food and eat. So
yes.
COVID basically, we shut down, we couldn't sustain. So we shut down the restaurant. And so what I was doing a lot of different little supper clubs and doing pop-ups where, a lot of people didn't want to go into a big restaurant with COVID and, they didn't want to get exposed to anything. So it was, say, your family of 8 that wanted, not your family of 8, but you said bring a caravan down and get 8 people. And, that's what I was doing cooking for. So it was a purpose for me to say, all right, let's do intimate dinners. Let's do more personal dinners. We can do themed dinners depending on what the client would like to have. But, other than that, I wanted to get a space here where I could create content. Content is huge right now. So if any chef, cook, baker that really wants to get their name out there and kind of like give exposure to their brand, they have to have content, right? I was fortunate enough to do shows on the Food Network where it gave me a lot of content, but that content is old content. People want to see me what I'm doing now. Since I don't have a platform, which is a stage, and a stage for a chef is a restaurant. That's where I perform, right? So I don't have a place to perform. So now I have to create my own stage, and this is what that studio is for. It's not only for me to create content, but to create dishes. What I love to do is food, everything around food, and then have a place where I can actually show other people, other chefs that want to use this as a studio to do their filming, right? So I have the lights, I have, I'm going to bring in a production company that will come in and work with me to be able to, if they have their own production company, the kitchen is will be set up perfect for them. I have all the equipment. So if there's a chef that want to come in and feel that they're the next best thing, they want to have their own television show, they want to create content, they want to do any type of videos, they can use my studio.
Okay.
To put out content as well.
All right. So what about if I wanted to come down and hire you to teach me? I like to think I'm a very good cook until we had this conversation.
You are. Okay. That man, he's a carnivore as well. He's done really well with the vegan food, but he makes some serious ribs and chicken wings. Oh my goodness.
Oh, nice.
Oh my goodness. You'll have to try them.
I gotta check it out.
I learned how to cook in West Philadelphia.
Born and raised.
Yeah. 55th and Walnut Street.
Okay.
All the way up there. My grandmother was, she's the anarchy of the whole family. God bless her soul. But she would always call me her curly-headed baby boy. And so every time she was cooking, she was like, where's my baby boy at? And I would come in and I was the taster.
Okay.
So I learned how to taste, and she would be like, what does it need some of this? She needs some of that, and she's from the old South.
Okay.
From she's from Florence, South Carolina, where she didn't measure nothing.
Oh yeah.
She didn't measure nothing. And this woman, I don't know how she did it, but she would make a pot of rice. I swear that would sit on the stove for 2 days. and it was out of the same pan every single time, but it was the most fluffiest rice ever. And obviously, and grandmas don't give up recipes.
Oh yeah.
No, none. She gave up no recipes, but to my benefit versus my brothers, I got to taste.
Yes.
And so that's how I learned how to cook by, I think it needs a little bit of this. I think it needs a little bit of that. And whether I got smacked in the back of the head or she just smiled, meant that I got it right or I got it wrong. And so I learned to get it right over time. But I think my style of cooking is eyeballing.
Yeah.
And I know if like you're probably more precise in the exact measurements of cooking a dish, or do you just eyeball it?
A little bit of both. Me and you have probably similar backgrounds when you talked about your grandmother from Florence. My mother is from Charleston, South Carolina. So that same pot of rice, the Geechee way of making rice, we got that same ancestral connection. So
it made no sense.
Right, and my mom cooks the same way. Is she doesn't measure anything. She has no recipes. But for me, I'm the same type of cook, but we have to understand in a professional kitchen, my taste buds, your taste buds, and the next cook's taste buds are all different, right? So I have to be able to create recipes for them to follow, right? So I can go in that book, the Bible I showed you, and if it's not baking recipes, I can make them without using the recipe. But when I want somebody to make the recipe for me, I have to create, and this is, to be honest with you, one of the hardest things to do. I don't know if our grandparents didn't write recipes down because it's hard. Because it's hard to tell so much how much salt or pepper to use because, it's just one of the things you got to measure it out. And then how do you double the recipe? How do you make it for 15 people? And how do you make it for 2 people? So writing a recipe is difficult. That's the reason why I can do both. I can go in the kitchen and freehand, right? And just create the recipe. And then after I create it and I taste it, then I have to go back and do it again. And then I have to measure everything out. So when I give the recipe to one of the cooks or one of the other chefs, they know exactly how to make it, right?
That's amazing.
Typically, in all my recipes, it'll say salt and pepper to taste, right? So I can't give you how much exactly salt to put in there. You have to develop your palate, which what your grandmother was doing for you way back when you were a young kid. She was developing your palate, right? So every time when you're the taster, that's just as important as being able to create the dish, tasting it, to know what's it lacking, what does it need? Did you put too much of something? So being able to create your palate was a good thing that you did for you.
Yeah. So I always learned to go light and then add.
Yeah, you can't take it away once it's in there.
No, because once it goes, because right now I know that I'm a big fan of Chopped. I love watching Chopped, and so that's one of my things. But I wanted to ask Tiffany, because Tiffany is a great cook in herself. Now, how do you cook, Tiff? Because I know some of the dishes that you bring over. Do you measure or do you just bam like Emma?
No, I would not want to have Chef Malcolm's job having to write down the recipes because, how do you measure the amount of salt you put in? Because you put it in, then you taste it, then you add a little bit more. I guess you could measure it, but I'm very much just, throw it in. I'm not precise at all. Even when it comes to baking, which is absolutely horrible. You have to be precise with baking, but I'm like, I just pour the bag in. I'm like, that's good.
Yeah, sometimes it's the easiest way of cooking. I mean, I think when cooking gets too technical, it's no longer fun, right? So cooking has to be fun. It has to be very fluid. If you got to sit there with a measuring cup the whole time, like I understand baking is like that. You gotta have to be that way. But sometimes when you're trying to create new dishes, it gets monotonous if you're sitting there measuring this and measuring that and measuring these ingredients. You want to go in there and just kind of flow, put some music on, get a glass of wine or a cocktail and just do your thing. And the one thing too is like I used to do a program when it was called Chef on the Go, right? And I used to do like for couples or time-starved parents, or and they never wanted to cook. And I said, you're making cooking a chore, right? Never make cooking a chore. Make it like an extension of a hug or extension of a kiss or a hug, love that you're giving to somebody. And it's never a chore. That's why, back in the day, our parents and grandparents loved to cook. That's how they told you that they loved you, was they would feed you, right? And so when cooking becomes a chore to people, then that's what they don't want to do. It's okay for me, because then they can hire me and I can do it for them. I can make some money off of it.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about hiring you right now. I want to do romantic dinner tonight. So how soon?
I'll drive up. So I love it so much where I don't, like, it is hard work being a cook in a restaurant, a chef in a restaurant. It is hard work. But I try to never make it a chore.
Yes.
Always try to make it, a passion and something that I love to do. And
so COVID obviously hit the restaurant industry really hard this year.
Yeah.
And made a huge impact. So is this a reason why you are going this route with consulting? Was this always a passion of yours?
It was both. It was, be honest, it was dual. Obviously, I am talent. I have talent, and with talent, I need a stage, and with a stage, I need an investor, right? So typically, all the projects, and I've opened up probably at least 10 to 15 restaurants, right? So all the projects that I've done, typically I'm the talent and I have investors that would back me, and buildings and equipment and, the whole nine. Yeah. So there are no investors for restaurants right now. It's just, it's a business where it's like survival, right? So a lot of investors are out there they're no longer there for my industry.
Yeah.
So I had to create and figure out, how do I continue to turn my passion into profit? And in order for me to do that, I had to scale down. So I can't have the 100-seat restaurant any longer. I can't have the open kitchen and all these things. I have to do something that scales it down, where I can manage it, I can finance it myself, and I take complete ownership of it from everything, right?
Yeah.
So COVID did put that damper, on the situation, but it kind of helped. I mean, it kind of made me move a little forward in what I needed to do. I'm writing a little bit more now, so I'm starting, I'm writing, developing recipes, so and where I can still be able to make a living off of this. You understand?
Yes.
So and the consulting, because there's people that still have that passion and money that want to open up a restaurant. So I'm doing a consulting gig in DC for a go-go museum that's opening up, and I'm designing their kitchen for them, giving them the concept, and putting those things together. So there's always people that still are already started the process prior to COVID.
Yes.
Of opening up a space, and they can't stop now. They probably already dropped 200,000 into the space, but COVID hit, delayed them, but now they still have to open up. And so I'm seeing projects like that come online for me to be able to
And I know that you and I have a project coming up together.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate enough when we're doing National Youth Service Day. Obviously, we're going to be in the same location.
Yeah.
I am working with the U Help and working with the homeless, but you're also going to be there as well, working with another group of youth individuals as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I know that you mentioned that you have a passion for teaching youth.
Right, absolutely.
As well too, and I think that's what really kind of brought us together. I know we both love to eat, but I'm getting a lot of great information from you. But I know that it circles back around that, you teaching the next generation on how to cook. And so I don't know, you can explain a little bit more
Yeah,
about
I
how
mean,
your passion is with that?
well, I was fortunate enough that my partner told me that, well, introduced me to Andy, who is the founder of the youth organization. And when he reached out to me, I was like, say no more. You said kids and you said food. What else is there? I mean, of course, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And the project was beautiful because, you know, I came in late before you did, Lance. I mean, you kind of watched them do their whole presentation and everything. And but these young kids are coming up with pretty much a concept of a business plan, how to market. You got to market the plan. You got to be able to figure out where the money is coming from, all the equipment you need to do. So I'm working with a group of kids that are actually creating they're baking, right? So they wanted to be able to create these baking classes. And the goal of it is as me and Lance are mentors. We're not here to do the work. We're here to assist them and put them in the right direction, right? And so, which is great. And these young minds, and it's motivating to see how quick they can come up with a concept, with a business plan, and pitch it. Pitch it to a panel of adults who are in business, that know business, and and take constructive criticism. And all the proceeds are, I think they're going to a shelter, and some of them are going to the food bank. And so we're doing a cooking class, and it's something that they're going to continue to do. It's just not going to be a one and done, a one off. They're going to do it on I think it's April 22nd.
24th.
24th, they're going to do it. And they got a grant to be able to, we were going to look to rent a oven, but now there was enough money to buy an oven, right? A convection oven. So these kids can continue to this program for months, years after, until the next class comes in, they can use that oven again. So it's just, so for me, I mean, with kids, it's kind of like, in this industry, I know that a lot of kids are lured in by the Food Network, Chopped, all these other glamorous cooking shows that I was fortunate to be on, but I know that is not the reality of the industry. So it's for me to give them what actually being a cook, being a chef is what it takes to be that. And the peaks and the valleys that come along with it. So if I can help in any way to kind of like hone their passion, hone their purpose, I want to do that. And this is part of what this studio is for as well too, is to try to see if there's young kids that want to get into this industry, but they need to know a little bit more about what they're actually getting into. And for me, not to stomp on their dreams of the Food Network and all those things, but give them a little taste of reality. And I think if I don't do that, then I'm not doing my part as being a chef. And one day I might need a job, and they might hire my old behind. So
That's what I say to all my youth kids. And Tiffany, I don't know if I told you about this program, but I know that it might be great for you to come down for that, because like I said, it is youth service, and I think we're going to have a great turnout. Obviously, we're doing the homeless, but we're also doing the baking aspects of it too. And one of the things about working with youth is that you never know if you plant a seed today, where that seed is going to harvest later on in life. And it's really crazy. And that's with anything. I know Chef Malcom and I, we shared a very small world story after our original conversation, where I grew up with a gentleman from upstate New York that Chef Malcom had met 10 years ago through working with Robert Madave. So you never know, like when you plant a seed or where it's going to harvest. And I'm a firm believer that When we're in a professional position, as all three of us are, right? And I say this wholeheartedly, our character on the field and off the field makes a huge difference, because we really don't know who we're influencing, on the field and off the field. I've heard so many stories of people coming up and saying, I saw you 10 years ago and I followed you and you changed my life. But you never even knew that you impacted this person. And so I think it's really important. I'm kind of tying it around to, like, as mentors, sometimes we want to be carefree, fancy free, and go out and do all this other stuff. But I think it's important as a character that we always conduct ourselves in a way of somebody is always watching us. And we can't quit, because we don't know who's watching us or how it's going to make an impact on somebody else's life. And I've seen that numerous times. And just to kind of go off of that, and I don't know if we've talked about your credentials or anything else like that, Chef, but if you want to just kind of tell everybody some of the things that you have accomplished, because I know some of the things that you have accomplished have already planted seeds in other people that you might not even know.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to bore you guys, and it's always difficult talking about yourself, right? Because it seems
it is. It is.
Because I don't want to come off braggadocious, but
is that a word?
So, so sometimes it's difficult. But guess what? I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to go way back, but me and you were talking when you gave me a tour of your office, and I seen the flag, and I said, "Oh, were you military or somebody who was military?" It was like your father, who was in the Navy. So yeah, I did 4 years in the Navy, and thank your father, thank him for his service. I did 4 years in the Navy, and I had the opportunity to travel the world, right, at 17 years old. And although I did cook in high school and little jobs and greasy spoons, I really developed my palate for traveling all over the world and just tasting everything.
Yeah.
I came back, I did a lot of different objects. After I got out of the military, I was working as a barber for about 4 or 5 years. I was still using these hands.
Yeah.
I worked in property management, and then a while I got opportunity, I kept cooking, but it was just at the house and for different parties and things of that nature. And then an opportunity, I was like, let me just go ahead and really take this passion and really put something behind it. So I got my benefits that I had from the military. I used it, my GI Bill, and then I went to culinary school, Stratford University, got an associate's advanced culinary degree there. From there, I just really moved. I just worked everywhere. And that is kind of what I want to tell a lot of young cooks that are out there: work everywhere. I worked in an Italian restaurant. I worked in school service facilities where I worked. I was the executive chef for the National Cathedral and Washington National Schools. Really privileged kids. I worked in hotels. I worked in like gastropubs. I worked in production kitchens. I worked in a retirement home. So work a lot of different places and work for some of the best people that you ever can work for. And sometimes you got to work for free.
Yeah.
So I've done some internships, externships, didn't get a penny, but I learned technique, I learned skill, I learned discipline. And I learned commitment. I started working in a lot of different places. I had opportunity after I worked in 2007, I was working for Flick, which is a part of Compass Group. I left there and I developed my own school lunch program. So I tried to do it in DC. I had 5 schools that I was going to have a pilot program for. Those 5 schools got scrapped because they got all closed down. I wanted the worst 5 schools in Washington, D.C., because I said, you can't educate a child in an unhealthy body. And so this program that I did, I took it to Prince George's County, and I did about 6 schools for about 3 years. I did that. While I was doing that, I had opportunity to work for a sports and entertainment company, Perennial Sports and Entertainment Group, and they had all the high profile players. I was the personal chef for the owner, and I did all the entertainment for everybody that he represented. I did stuff for Jesse Jackson. I did stuff for Chris Tucker. I was the personal chef, and then I had an opportunity to meet some people on the Wizards. I met the coach that was Eddie Jordan at that point. I was his personal chef, and then I started being the personal chef at least 7 of the Wizards at that point. So I started to really get my name out there as far as a lot of the celebrities. I've done Chris Wall, JaVale McGee, Antoine Jameson. I did food. I raw diet
Joel Embiid?
Huh?
Did you say Joel Embiid?
No, JaVale McGee.
Oh, Jamal. Okay.
JaVale McGee. He was the center. He was the center there.
Yes.
And I did food for Mary J. Blige. I did a raw diet for her for about a month, working through her sports and conditioning trainer. And then I just, at that point I went to the Food Network, and basically I had a meeting with them, and I tried to pitch them my own show, and they pretty much laughed at me. They took the meeting, but I don't know
why they were laughing.
No, because it was kind of like I had all these entertainers and basketball players that the show was going to be with me in the kitchen cooking with them, and me being type of like an interviewer. The draw was the athlete and the entertainer, right? The draw wasn't as much me. I was the backdrop, but it was on Food Network. So I pitched them this, and they were like, yeah, but no. So they were like, well, what about, you ever thought about doing a competition show? It's like, yeah, I'm not afraid. I think I got skills. And it's like, yo, one of the biggest shows that we have is called Food Network Star. Would you be interested in doing that? And I was like, sure. And so, it was a year later, I get a call, and it's like, oh, well, can you come down and do an audition? We want to check you out for this show. And so I don't send in no sizzle reel, anything. I had a sizzle reel that I had, this was like a year and a half ago. For some odd reason, they got it. And I think I put the content out on the internet, and they used that sizzle reel as an intro to me being on the show. So I got on the show. It was the time, it was season 8, Food Network Star season 8. And that's when they split up the teams with Giada, Alton Brown, and Bobby Flay had their own team. So it was like 5 of us on each team. Bobby Flay picked me to be on his team. And so, I did well on the show. I think out of 10 challenges, I made it through 8. I got put off on the 8th challenge. So that's a B, maybe B minus.
That's an A.
Okay, so I did.
Yeah, even beyond the show, let alone that is the shots of that are like 1 and I'm a lottery player, but I know that's like a 1 out of a zillion chance.
Yeah, it definitely was high. So that basically kind of like pushed my career a little further. Now, it was easy for me. Like, so people wanted to see me. They wanted to taste my food. So that was a great PR situation. I started doing a lot of product placement for different small brands, like an olive oil company. I started working things with US Foods. I started doing like their big shows. And so it just kind of like propelled you. So getting on TV helps a lot, right? So now my price can go up a little bit higher, right? Now my influence is, it's validated a little bit more, right? As far as me being a cook. And so it did what it needed to do. I basically, after that, I started, I opened up a kosher food truck. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I opened up the first kosher food truck in DC. Yeah, get that.
That's amazing.
I don't look kosher, do I?
Sammy Davis Jr.
I know. So I did kosher food. I did kosher food truck. I've done in Las Vegas, they brought me out there to do the JNF. I did the JNF. I've done the Taste of Israel. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff with kosher food. So I'm saying all this because when I was on the Food Network, they basically wanted me to stick me in a box, and they wanted me to cook how I looked, right? So I look African American, so cook soul food, or so they wanted to keep me in a box. But you just listen to all the different places and all the different types of cuisine I know how to cook and can cook. And so that was one of the reasons why I think I did not win the show. I think I could have won the show if I would have been like, here's Malcom Mitchell, the soul food king, right? That's not a title I want. It's not. I love. That's not me, right? So that's what they called. On the show they said I did not have a POV, a point of view, because on the show everything I cooked had soul in it because it came from the essence of my mom who taught me how to cook. But when I was on there, I cooked a Peruvian dish. I cooked a Jamaican dish. I did a dish on where we did chopped on there, where it was a dessert that was inspired by French cuisine. They gave me, let me tell you something. So since you like chopped too, Lance, you said you like chopped, right?
Yeah, I love chopped.
Okay, listen, let me tell you what my ingredients was, okay? My ingredients was dry pasta, Hershey's chocolate, pineapple, and lava salt.
Oh, your 4 basics. I can put that together.
Creative, and it was chopped dessert, so I had to make a dessert out of that. Okay. And so I did. All right, and you have to have a technique. So I flambéed the pineapple, right? I took the chocolate. I make a chocolate ganache out of it. I took the pasta, the dry pasta, and I deep fried it. I added the lava salt and a little powdered sugar and a little cinnamon. I did a creme fraiche with a little cayenne, and I made it just like a nice little tapenade on it. I had the fried pasta on the bottom, the flambé pineapple, the chocolate sauce, and then the creme fraiche with a little bit of cayenne in it. And I didn't get chopped.
Amazing.
So,
amazing.
Because if I opened up that basket, and I don't know if Tiffany would have done the same thing, I would have opened it up and closed it and called Grubhub and said, I'm hungry, but I can't do anything out of this basket whatsoever. So to me, it's, your message is absolutely amazing. And being told no is sometimes being told yes. And some aspects. Yeah. So by them saying no to you has really given you the platform to be able to come up with Chef Malcom's Bible.
Right.
Which I'm really, I can't wait for it to come out. I can't wait for you to come up and cook here for us. And
absolutely.
And on Saturday morning coffee. So we can make us some kind of omelets together. I was thinking maybe a show of the 3 of us where you can walk us through and we can cook together.
Absolutely.
But I think that you've done so many miraculous things, and that's why I really wanted to get you here on Saturday Morning Coffee to introduce.
Appreciate that, my brother. I appreciate that.
Not just to introduce you, but just to introduce to the world what it takes to get to the level that you're getting to and what you're striving for. And again, planting that seed and to, you plant that seed and you harvest it later. And sometimes it might be a year, it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years.
Right.
So for you, I mean, honestly, I give you a cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. So you'll be getting your Saturday morning coffee swag.
Oh yeah, thank you.
So
I will wear it with pride.
I know you'll wear it with pride because I think this is going to be the first of many things, of many kind of conversations. I know Tiffany is thinking over there because she's thinking about all the food. I know she was a little bit quieter.
Hungry now, yes.
No, she's really hungry. But I'm going to try to wrap everything up. But I also want to say that I think that going forward, I would love for you to come back to Saturday morning and have Saturday morning coffee with us. And maybe we can set up a way of you kind of giving us a quick demonstration, or we can.
I got the space. It's right here.
Space, or maybe we can bring Saturday morning coffee to the Baltimore area.
Yes.
To where we could do something live. There's a lot of different things with this. So I'm going to try to wrap it up. I know that we will be releasing this video here in the next couple of weeks. And so I know that a lot of your followers will be able to get to see this, to see you in a different light. Because I think, tell me if I'm wrong, they probably just see Chef Mitchell when you go out, they just see this one aspect of you. But when in reality, there's this whole huge world of you,
Right.
And again, I thank you for serving our country as well too. And I look forward to working with you next month. I believe Tiffany is already probably thinking in her mind, when Chef Mitchell coming up here to cook for us. And I'm looking forward to learning more about your cooking Bible.
Okay.
And and so hopefully, with this video or with this conversation, somebody can see it and it will come to light. Like I said, right now we're planting a seed, and who knows who's going to watch. And then when that seed develops, we just got to make sure that you're wearing Saturday morning coffee.
Yeah. I'll send you my address.
Send me your address. But I thank you for your time, for explaining to us the variations of how your career has taken off. I believe it's taken off, but yet you have not even hit that plateau yet.
Yeah, you're right. I have a lot more to go. I have a lot more to go. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, and it's going to be absolutely fun for me to sit back and watch, and Tiffany as well. I know that there's a lot of people within our neighborhood, we call the bubble, that are all foodies. We think we're foodies until we just talk to you. I'm going back to my TV dinners now after our conversation with that. But
thank you. I mean, I thank both of you for having me. This kind of starts off when you said that people see me in a different light. I want them to kind of see me all of everything, because a lot of times when they've seen me on different shows, a lot of it is me, but it's scripted and edited, and it's sometimes can be taken out of context a little bit. So this is going to be starting in my studio with you guys, that you just today give me a time to be able to get my message across. With no filters, with no editing, and just allowing people to understand my creative space and the process, and what I'm trying to, what's my end game, and what's my end game. And it's got to be all those things. You want to entertain, you want to educate, and you want to inspire people. So that's exactly what I feel that you guys are actually doing with this show that you have. And and when you get different people, different walks of life coming together and talking about different things, and and this was just fun. We didn't talk about anything real heady or heavy. You know what I mean? We just kind of like just chilled. So I thank you guys for having me, and I'll be honored to come back on again and continue this conversation.
Yeah. And that's really what Saturday Morning Coffee is all about, is just kicking back, relaxing. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. It's that we get so caught up in our professions, and people see us one way, but we're humans, and we have so much to offer, and we have so much to give. But when you sit back and just chill, with no filters, no cutting, no editing, it's just us being us, enjoying a cup of coffee. We're getting our message out, just about how, Saturday Morning Coffee is all about relaxing and enjoying ourselves, and really showcasing who we really are without. So it's kind of a win-win for both of us, because this is really our message that we want to get to other professionals in other genres too, that have a lot of ideas that people don't understand yet as well. But until they see them sit down like yourself and just say, "Hey, I'm just a normal guy. Don't put all this pressure on me to make this and make that, but I'm doing everything else." So I look forward to future conversations with you. I look forward to our upcoming event. I think Tiffany will probably be there now, because your daughter is 7.
She's 7. Yeah.
So that project that we have coming up in April will fit right in what Chef Malcom is doing, and for the Youth Service Day.
Yes.
Too. So, but again, I think you showcased a great deal of who you are, and I'm excited. I know that I'm going to be talking later on about how we could probably do our own private dinner party.
Okay.
Because I know, like I said, Tiffany loves to cook. My wife loves to cook, and I'm always looking to learn as well too. So, and I want to get my hands on that Bible. make sure you make a double copy of that.
I got you.
It might go missing.
I got you. Don't worry about it.
But again, I just want to thank everybody for coming out Saturday. Cheers.
Cheers.
To Saturday Morning Coffee and to Chef Malcom. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much.
Pleasure to watching your career grow and flourish, working with the youth, working with other restaurants, and this project here of having people come in and using your kitchen. That is a vision that I haven't seen before, and it's going to be showcased, and I think it will grow. Like the Field of Dreams, you build it, they will show up.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'd love to say thank you so much too. Your story is inspiring to see where you've come from, doing several different opportunities and jobs to get you where you are today. I think that's an amazing message for the kids and for, I think, everyone. That you're going to see challenges in your life, and I think for our younger generation, it's so important that they understand that you're not going to go from 0 to 100 overnight, and you have to work to get there, right? Yes. So I'm so excited about what you and Lance will be doing here shortly on April 24th, if I remember correctly. And I love your story. So I also just want to put out there for everyone that you also have a site that they can go to and look you up and get some more information about the wonderful things you're doing at Malcom_Mitchell.com.
Malcom-Mitchell.com.
Thank you.
Yes, Malcom-Mitchell.com. Get that right there.
And they catch me I'm on Twitter, Chef Mitchell 1, Facebook, Chef Mitchell, Instagram, Chef Malcom Mitchell.
Okay. So when we send out your bio for the video, we will make sure that we have all that information in there, so people can get a quick rundown to how to reach you. I know that I'm going to be telling other people about you as well as we go along, and we'll be sending people your way, and then hopefully you'll send somebody else our way, and
Absolutely.
maybe we can grow together, and we'll get some swag to you shortly, because I'd love to see Saturday Morning Coffee a t-shirt or a hoodie on Food Network.
You're gonna see it on the Chef Studio Network. Trust me, it's gonna be bigger.
You know what? I was thinking here. I love your idea, and cheers.
Cheers
thank
to you, brother.
very much, Chef. And
Bye.
we will talk
Cheers
to you
Tiffany.
soon.
All right, you guys take care.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.